Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber. South Dakota's Attorney General Jason Ravnsborg has reached a plea agreement today with prosecutors in connection to that deadly hit-and-run crash last year. Details that have been released so far in the case in our top story at 5. With that plea deal, Ravnsborg will avoid a trial that was supposed to begin tomorrow. The Attorney General faced 3 misdemeanor charges, all in connection to the crash last year, where he hit and killed 55-year-old Joseph Beaver while Beaver walked along the highway near Highmore, South Dakota. Now, details on this agreement have not yet been released, but Ravnsborg did face up to 30 days in jail for each offense. Beaver's widow has said that she plans on filing a wrongful death lawsuit against the Attorney General. Governor Kristi Noem in South Dakota called for Ravnsborg to resign shortly after that crash. He has not said whether or not he will seek a second term next year. Here in Siouxland, a settlement agreement with Big Ox Energy in the city of South Sioux City will bring a 4-year-old legal battle one step closer to being closed. The $1.75 million settlement has been finalized now, and 15 of the 16 lawsuits against the company were dismissed this week. Homeowners living near that plant sued the company and the city over gases released from the plant that they say ruined their homes and caused health problems. The city of South Sioux City will be required to pay $500,000 of that settlement. And authorities in Nebraska are still looking for a man escaped on foot last night after a high-speed chase. Police say that Nathan MURPHREE of Yankton, South Dakota, was driving a car that crossed into Nebraska last night, all during a chase that began in the state of South Dakota. Now, you can see his picture here on your screen. Police say he is about 6 feet tall and 150 pounds. If you see him, you're asked to immediately call police. The Cedar County Sheriff's Office says South Dakota authorities were pursuing MURPHREE when he crossed into Cedar County. Nebraska deputies intercepted that pursuit west of Wynot on Highway 12. They were able to spike the car's tires and stop that vehicle. A woman taken into custody at the scene, but MURPHREE fled on foot into a cornfield, and deputies were not able to locate him despite an extensive search after. A Valentine man has been arrested after a homicide investigation in the Nebraska Sandhills. The Nebraska State Patrol says they have arrested 25-year-old Kevin Kilmer in connection to the murder of 52-year-old Ruth Whitmus. Authorities were originally investigating a disturbance in Kilgore. That's when they located Kilmer hiding in a wooded area. They located Whitmus's body soon after. Kilmer is currently charged with first-degree murder. A Sioux City man has been convicted of first-degree murder in connection to a stabbing last September. 55-year-old Michael Landrum was also found guilty of willful injury and attempted murder, all in connection to the attack last year that killed 37-year-old Salahuddin Adem and injured his 43-year-old girlfriend. Landrum argued that he killed Adem in self-defense, but testimony from that surviving victim about the night they were attacked convinced the jury otherwise. A sentencing date has not yet been set, but Landrum does face up to life in prison. Time now to turn our attention to the weather. Kind of an interesting day in that department here in Siouxland. Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson standing by with us. Scott, you could see an unusual sight for the summer of 2021 on our radar.
Exactly.
Some precipitation.
Yeah, we've had less than an inch of rain so far here in the month of August, Sophie, so it has been unusual to see much cloud cover at all in Sioux City, but we do have an isolated strong storm that continues to move its way across the Nebraska and South Dakota state lines. The National Weather Service has eliminated that severe thunderstorm warning for the time being. The last couple scans that have come in have been a little bit weaker, but if you do live in the Vermilion area, be prepared for heavy rain and lots of lightning as that storm continues to barrel in. We'll take a look at our storm reports now. You can see that we did have some large hail drop in Bonham County in the city of Springfield, measured at 1.5 inches in diameter. So that's about the size of a ping pong ball. And again, that storm has weakened to an extent now. We do have a marginal risk of seeing additional severe weather as we go through tonight, and then a slight risk across Siouxland tomorrow inside of the yellow. We'll detail those thunderstorm chances ahead and preview of a cool down. That's all in the 9 on 9 forecast. Sophie?
All right, thanks, Scott. Delta Airlines tonight says it will charge unvaccinated employees a $200 per month surcharge on their health insurance. That begins November 1st. The carrier cited the steep cost to cover employees hospitalized with COVID-19, $50,000 on average. Unvaccinated employees will face other restrictions. That includes indoor masking and weekly COVID-19 tests. So at the end of September, COVID pay protection will only be provided to fully vaccinated employees experiencing a breakthrough infection. Johnson & Johnson announced today its booster shot dramatically raises the levels of antibodies that you have in your system against COVID-19. Now the company is hoping to be part of the first of the distribution round of those additional shots. Our Washington correspondent Jesse Tenur reports now on the country's latest vaccination efforts as cases, hospitalizations, and death numbers continue to rise.
We're seeing a huge rise in COVID all across the country.
Republican Congressman Bruce Westerman's home state of Arkansas is one of those at maximum capacity in its ICUs, with almost all of the patients unvaccinated.
I hope that more people will get the vaccine now that it's FDA approved.
The Pfizer shot now has full FDA approval, and the company joins Moderna and Johnson & Johnson in working toward a booster vaccine. If approved, those who received their last dose at least 8 months ago could get a booster as early as next month.
The time to get vaccinated is now.
Public health experts warn to ultimately get the Delta variant under control, it won't be up to vaccinated people getting a booster, but unvaccinated people getting their shots.
If you are not yet vaccinated, you are among those highest at risk.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky reports unvaccinated Americans are about 5 times more likely to be infected and nearly 30 times more likely to be hospitalized.
Please do not underestimate the risk of serious consequences of this virus.
And Illinois Democratic Congresswoman Sherry Bustos stresses because children under 12 years old still can't get the shot, it's up to the rest of the country to protect them.
The secret to all of that is getting vaccinated.
In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
And as kids head back into the classroom this week, it's becoming more apparent now than ever that schools are struggling to fill nearly every position on staff. From paraeducators to custodial staff and especially substitute teachers, all vital roles for the school system to function. South Sioux City schools say that they have nearly 30 openings currently. That includes 5 certified teachers, and in Vermillion, South Dakota, teachers are having to adapt their schedules to make up for this shortage. The city of Norfolk could soon be expanding too. City officials announced plans to annex surrounding areas and hold some public meetings to answer questions from residents living in these annexed areas. One of the more prominent issues locals say that they're concerned with is how exactly their property taxes will be impacted. KCAU 9's Jason Toktagian spoke with a city official who explains why Norfolk is looking to expand. All of that coming up tonight at 10. Siouxlanders recognized a community service milestone today. The Chamber of Commerce honored the Welcome Home program for its decade of work. The project is affiliated with the Community Action Agency of Siouxland, which has helped more than 280 families find a place to call their own. For Siouxlander Eva McCauley, the organization has given her more than just a home.
It's possible. Whatever people out there have doubts about, and if it's drinking, alcohol, whatever it is, struggling, homeless, don't have a home, it's possible to get back up. And this place right here can help you.
The program has helped more than 140 families get permanent housing, and 91% of people in that program have advanced in some way in their current job. Well, there are many things out there in the world that can send you to the hospital, but how about a moose? It happened to a woman in the state of Colorado, and we'll tell you how it happened coming up.
And we've been a little bit more fortunate recently with bringing through some rounds of rain, and there's some more rain chances ahead of us too with an unsettled pattern, very warm and humid conditions, but it looks like next week we'll start to cool things off into some more fall-like weather. The 9 on 9 forecast straight ahead.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Sophie Erber and Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson. This is KCAU 9 News at 5.
On Friday with a high of 89, a 30% shot on Saturday. That'll come through with a cold front as it looks like our temperature will descend to about 80 degrees Sunday and Monday. Monday also an additional chance of seeing some storms come together. Once we get past that, it looks like we'll be disturbance free for the majority of next week with some sunny skies and seasonal temperatures in the low to mid 80s.
I'm not necessarily one of those people looking for it to feel like fall yet, so I'm not upset with your forecast, but I know some people will be looking for those more seasonal temps attempts, especially with pumpkin spice back on shelves.
It's been a really warm month of August out there, Sophie, and dry too. So again, hopefully we'll be able to snag on to some of these storm chances and bring some rain through Sioux City.
That we could use. Thanks a lot, Scott. Well, a ditch on the side of the road in Arkansas claiming vehicle after vehicle over the years. We have the deeper story behind it coming up. But first, moose versus woman. Why it's never a good idea to get too close. We'll look at the attack in Colorado next, so stay with us. Welcome back. A woman in Colorado is lucky to be alive tonight after surviving a savage attack by one of North America's largest animals. Reporter Mason Morrow sat down with the survivor as she recounted the attack.
There are all sorts of reasons you could end up at Denver Health. COVID, cancer, concussion, and so many more. But out of the hundreds of patients here now, only one can say this.
Oh, I was hit by a moose, and he didn't like me.
That would be an understatement for Jana Schultz. She's been here for the last week and a half after taking a dog for a walk in a rural area south of Glenwood Springs on Friday the 13th. Earlier that day, she saw the cow and calves nearby. She thought they'd moved on, so she ventured out and was soon under attack.
I thought it was a human being first. I said, oh God, are there bad people up here too? But then I realized it was the moose.
About 3,000 moose make a home here in Colorado. They rarely attack humans, but when they do, it's often because people get too close to them and on occasion, try to pet them.
Get away!
Jana did the right thing by waiting for the moose to move along. That's why she was so surprised when the 1,000-pound animal started stomping on her.
When you were getting stomped, was there ever a point when you thought, this might be the end of me?
Yeah, I did. I thought to myself, this is it.
Thankfully, it wasn't. The moose ran off and Jana was flown to Denver Health with 9 broken ribs, a cracked collarbone, a shattered scapula, plus a fractured vertebrae.
We were pretty worried.
So Dr. Fred Parachi got to work. He's one of the few doctors who doesn't let broken ribs heal on their own, but instead plates them with titanium to take the pain away. At the same time, another surgeon shored up her collarbone, and now...
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? She's like, looks better than I do, and probably feels better than I feel right now.
I'm very grateful for what has been done here and for my life today.
Lucky lady. Well, News Nation Prime is the country's only live national newscast in prime time. It comes your way every night at 7 Central on News Nation. At 6, there's the Donlin Report. Here's a preview.
Tonight on the Donlin Report, new air rescues in Afghanistan amid outrage on both sides. We'll look at the strong message from lawmakers to the president, and is the Taliban calling the shots? Now here's Leland Vittert with a preview of On Balance.
Thanks, Joe. The list of penalties grows for the unvaccinated. Companies hiking healthcare rates, hospitals making those with the vaccine a priority. Will the measures actually convince people to get the shot? That's coming up on Balance tonight, followed by News Nation Prime.
Again, News Nation Prime comes your way every night, 7 Central on News Nation. You can see some of the channels here, or just be sure to check your local listings. And when we come back tonight, a ditch causing serious issues for some drivers in Arkansas. We dig deeper into that problem, coming up next. A nefarious ditch in Arkansas has claimed dozens of vehicle victims over the years and now has gained some online notoriety too. Reporter Katrina Soff from our sister station in Benton dug into the story of what makes this ditch in Arkansas so dangerous.
When pulling into this Benton Sonic for a drink or hot dog, it's easy to miss the gaping hole sitting next to you. But for those going too fast, their order might include a sewer slushie.
It's called the ditch, and for many people looking to drive through to get a quick meal, they're instead driving in to here.
The ditch attracts its fair share of cars. For neighbors like Tyler Jameson,
how often do you see cars over here?
All the time. The frequent crashes have become somewhat of a local phenomenon.
I would call it the man cave ditch. It seems pretty iconic for collecting cars over time.
Jameson stops for a drink nearly every day, and most of those stops include views like this.
Man, how many does that make this week? About 1 in 10 are the odds, and there's someone in this ditch parked.
The hazardous hole has collected so many victims that a Facebook page was started in its honor. The group has over 3,000 members, including Israel Alvarado.
I joined like a week ago, and I thought it was the most funniest thing in the world.
He's seen endless ditched cars. It's his family's favorite topic of discussion.
We actually post in our family group chat like all the time whenever we see a car pass.
But Alvarado's not alone. The ditch has many followers.
Don't let it get you. It'll get you every time.
See? It's become an icon in its own right. And while the city has put up reflective poles to try and stop the chaos,
I think it's the happy hour for Sonic. I think everyone's in a rush to get their drinks.
there's no ditching this infamous ditch.
We take a live look outside right now in Orange City. Scott returns right after this break with one more check on your forecast. Don't go away. And before we wrap up here at 5, let's check in first with Tim now for what's coming up at 6. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good afternoon, Sophie. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from some folks in Norfolk, Nebraska, who are upset about annexation plans being discussed there. That's again coming up in just a half an hour. And Iowa is now the latest state to have a resident sue its governor for ending federal unemployment benefits early. Governor Kim Reynolds opted out of the $300 per week federal payments after indicating they were a deterrent to folks returning to work. And players on the Nebraska football team aren't the only ones getting ready for the team's September 4th home opener. After a year of not playing in front of a packed house at Memorial Stadium, the UNL marching band is back on the field. We'll check the practice. We'll hear from them as well. Their horns, at least, is what we'll hear from, Sophie. That's at 6.
Can't wait. I love good band performances like that. And pretty decent weather for something like that until, hopefully, fingers crossed, we actually get some rain out of this next system.
Yeah, you know, we have some encouraging signs there on the radar, Sophie. The storm up near Vermilion has weakened some, but it's extending further south toward the Sioux City Metro. So we may actually get a splash of rain in Sioux City this evening. Probably won't last too long. 69 for the low. Expecting to see highs in the 80s and 90s going forward.
All right, thanks, Scott. Thank you for joining us. We'll all see you here tonight at 6. Until then, have a great night.